Okay, guys. So, same thing at the top of your paper. You're going to put Unit 1. You're going to put Geometry. And this happens to be Day 2. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, yesterday we talked about the basics. We just did our warm-up going over the basics. So if you want to show your parents and teach them a little bit about geometry, use that warm-up. See if they can show you segments, lines, rays. Okay? It's a challenge to the parents. Today, we're going to step in another direction. We're going to use those rays, we're going to use those segments, we're going to use those lines, because today we're going to talk about angles. Okay, we're going to talk about angles. Everybody with me?
Yeah.
Now, you have seen angles before. I know in previous classes you have seen angles. I teach them a little bit differently. I am very specific in the definition of angle. I give you a textbook definition and then we branch off from there. Okay? So, first off, I want what you think. So again, you're going to come off to the side of the paper, skip a couple lines. I'd like you to write it all in capital letters. That way you know it's a definition. You don't have to put the dashes, but I put the dashes. That way you know not to write underneath it. What is a good definition for an angle? And maybe even not, can somebody give me an example of an angle, and then maybe I can write a good definition? Nemo. In this room, give me a good example of an angle.
Right angle.
Okay, that's a right angle. Can you show me, like, tell me where a right angle would be?
Triangle.
The triangle, right here. This what you're saying?
Yeah.
So this is the whole triangle the angle?
No.
So, which way? Down this side or down this side?
Down.
Straight up and down?
Yeah.
Okay. Then what?
To the side.
Hmm?
To the side.
This side?
No.
The bottom?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, that is a great angle. And that is a right angle, which we're going to talk about later, and you're going to see this little box. That is a right angle. I love that. Okay? But what is an angle? Layton?
An angle is like usually 180 degrees or something like that, right?
Not quite. I like that you use the word degrees. I like that you use the word degrees because angles are measured in degrees.
It's where two lines meet to make a corner of some sort.
Ooh, we're getting there. Where two lines meet. What is that meeting point called? When something meets in math, what do we call it?
The origin?
That's for the ordered pairs. There is an origin. What happens when two streets meet? What do we call that? Luke? An intersection. So when things meet in geometry and math, it's called an intersection. So an angle, okay, this is a textbook definition. Two rays that share the same endpoint. Two rays that share the same endpoint. That's the textbook definition. But it could also be two segments that share the same endpoint. Two lines that intersect at the same endpoint. And we're going to go over all of this, but this is the textbook definition. So first off, let's take a look at some angles. So two rays that intersect at the same endpoint. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with an endpoint. And I'm going to draw two rays. There's a ray. There's a ray. This is an angle. Okay? We measure the inside of an angle. And we measure angles in what kind of measurement? Layton?
Degrees.
Degrees. That's an example of an angle. Oof. I'm going to come up. You guys are going to keep writing down. Let's go this way. So here's my endpoint. There's my angle. Still good, right? Nothing too hard about this. I'm going to try one more. Is that an angle?
No. No.
What does an angle have to be? I need hands. What is an angle? Trevor.
It has to be like.
What is the definition for an angle?
Two rays that share the same endpoint.
Okay, so here's an endpoint. Here's my one ray. Here's the endpoint. There's my other ray. By definition, is that an angle?
No.
Absolutely. Endpoint, two rays. That is an angle.
You kind of form into a line.
Oh. Huh. What do we know about lines? What are they? They start with an S. I think I heard Ryan say it. What are they? They're continuous, but they're also, say it, straight. It's going to help us with this. Okay? So these are angles. Now, let's talk about angles. So here's my first important question. So this is an important question. What are the parts of an angle? We've got two parts of an angle. Okay? We've got two parts of an angle. We've got sides. The sides are the rays. And we've got what's called the vertex. The vertex is that common endpoint. So I'm going to show you an example over here. So what are the parts of an angle? So we're going to say, okay, we've got 3 points, A, B, C. We've got sides, and we've got a vertex. So be careful here. Can somebody name me one of the sides of my angle? I need you to name me one of the sides of my angle. Emma.
BC.
I'm sorry, what? You're not wrong, but I need you to say a little bit more with it. What's BC? Somebody help her out. We can't just say BC. This is part of what we did on that warm-up. What does it have to be? Does it have to be, Lydia?
Segment.
It could be segment BC, but we want to go by the true definition. Could be segment BC. Go ahead, Emma.
Ray BC.
Very good. One of our sides is ray B C. B because that's where the endpoint is. Can somebody give me another side? Because in angles we're going to have at least two sides. Jess.
Ray AB.
Okay, let's think about that. You said ray AB. So that would mean A is the endpoint. B is where it goes forever and ever and ever. Is that what's happening?
No.
Okay.
BA. Or Ray BA.
There you go, ray BA. Very good. Very good. What is the vertex? Jackson, you think you know what the vertex is? Where's the end point?
B.
B. Very good. My vertex is point B. The vertex is going to be very, very important. Yes, sir.
So the vertex is like the middle of it?
Well, there's not a middle, but it's where the end point is.
And
Okay? The end point. Yes, sir. Okay? Well, we're going to use this same picture. Because we've got another important question. Promise, we're almost done. We're almost done with those. It's going to be a quick day. How do we name an angle? So one more time, I'm going to draw an angle. We've got X, Z, Q. I'm going to show you how we name an angle. There are a couple different ways. First off, how many angles are right here? How many angles? Do you see 3 angles?
One.
1 angle. There's only 1 angle. That's important. When there's only 1 angle, when there is only 1 angle, eyes on me. I'm going to say it one more time. So pencils down. Stop moving. When there is only 1 angle, we can name it by the vertex. What's the vertex in this one?
Z.
Z. So a name for this one, you're going to have to use some kind of notation. The notation is that gator mouth. I'm going to say angle Z. That's one way to name a single angle. If there's only 1 angle, I can name it by the vertex. There's also multiple other ways to name it. When we name angles, usually we will use 3 letters. We're either using 3 letters or 1 letter. When I use 3 letters, I am going to put the vertex in the middle. I'm going to say, okay, angle, if I start with X, what do I have to put next? Z, Q. Let's go one more. Let's go down here. Angle. What's my other way to name it?
QZX.
Very good. Angle Q, Z, X. Everybody still with me? Okay. What happens if there's multiple angles? Okay, now, for you, since you're doing this in your notes, you don't have colored pencils, you're going to draw a squiggly line. I'm going to draw this in purple. I want you to name this angle. So talk it over with the people around you. I want you to name this angle. So we've got B, A, Z, Y, X, and the letter P. I want you to name that angle that has the squiggly purple lines on it. So talk it over, because there's not just one name. There might be 2 names. There might be 3 names. There might be 7 names. I want you to try to think of all of the names that are possible for that angle. Bless you.
Okay.
You're welcome. Okay. Ma'am in the purple, right here. Tell me with your name one more time.
Taylor.
Taylor. Do I have two? I have two Taylors? Okay. Taylor, I was listening to you. You did it great. Can you give me a name for this?
Angle P.
Angle P. I love that you used the vertex. How many angles are there? Are there more than one? There's how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, then there's 6. Then there's, oh man, there's a bunch of angles there. We can only name it by the vertex when there's how many angles?
1.
Oh, so we can't just say angle P, because if I said angle P, how would you know it's this angle? It could be this angle, it could be this, right? So can you give me another way? Because I was listening to you say it. What 3 letters did you have?
Angle BPX.
Beautiful. Angle BPX. How can I follow this? I start at B. Up there's my vertex. X. The vertex is always in the middle. I'm going to tell you right now, there's another way to show that angle. Who's got another way to write it? Lydia.
XPB.
What?
Angle XPB.
What?
Angle XPB.
Very good. Angle XPB. XP. Oh man, it shows me that angle. Everybody with me? Okay. We've got 3 more things to copy down. That's it. 3 more and then we're done. And I think we got plenty of time. You're going to have time to work a little bit with your partners, and we'll go from there. So, this requires a story. I'm going to write types of angles. We've got 4 different types of angles. When I was in 8th grade, I took geometry. And as I've told you before, I was very, very smart, but not the best of students. I wasn't. I wanted to kind of go, I know how to do this, and put my head down, not talk, not do anything. I became better at it. But I had a geometry teacher, and she was wonderful. She was. She was amazing. She was so friendly, so nice. And I'm going to give a demonstration that she couldn't write anything low on the board, because as she would write back up high, her tummy would erase the bottom of the board. She wasn't small, okay? But when she talked, and I sat right up in front, when she talked like this! And it was incredible. And I will never forget this lesson because of this. Okay, class, we're going to learn about angles. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I couldn't believe what was happening. So she did. She said, okay, we're going to start with a right angle. And we're going to say right angle. Okay? And she goes, okay, who can tell me what a right angle is? And she swayed a lot. And I don't know if it's because she was losing her balance or if she was like tired. I don't know. But she just swayed. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Because I'm sitting in the front and I'm just like, man, please don't call on me. Please don't call on me. Mr. Hands of Bacillus, can you help me? Nope. No, I can't. No, not me. Come on. Okay, fine. A right angle, and I don't remember her name, which bothers me, but a right angle is exactly 90 degrees. Now, what does that mean? That means it almost looks like a T. So we show right angles 2 ways. We can either say that it's 90 degrees, or by putting a box at the vertex. Because a right angle is nothing other than 90 degrees. Okay? It's perfect. It's our perfect angle. Everybody with me? Okay. Now remember, my teacher had this very high-pitched voice and super nice, but really wanted Nick to be part of the class. She really wanted me to be part of the class, and I really didn't want to. Our next angle is acute. And now she's leaning. Like she's coming up to me. And she's leaning. And I'm like, I'm tired watching you because you are swaying. It's like being on a boat. I don't know what's going on. And she goes, well, you'll never forget this because acute angles are small. They're cute little angles. Ha, 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 ha. And now she's flapping. Like, what are you doing? Like you are flapping away. What is happening? Okay? So, cute little angles. Think about it. Cute, we usually think is smaller. Like I think of a cute puppy dog. And I think of a small little puppy dog. So acute angles are bigger than 0 degrees. And the degrees marker is this little circle up above. But less than 90 degrees. Okay? So examples. If I asked you to draw an acute angle, it's going to be small. Is that smaller than 90 degrees?
Yes.
Yeah. How about this one? Still smaller than 90 degrees, right?
No.
Yes.
Yeah. How can I guarantee to make sure that as the teacher, I know it's less than 90 degrees? Watch what you can do. If I say draw one, and I'm like, oh man, that might be 90. Put a measurement in there that's less than 90. Is that now an acute angle? Absolutely. Is 70 between 0 and 90? Yep. Okay.
If it was a right angle, I can just put like 70.
Sure. Unless you actually measure it, how will I know? Now, you have to remember, my teacher is trying really hard to get me involved. And she goes, okay, class. Obtuse angle. And she's up there. And I don't think there's anybody else in the class at this point because all she has is eyes on me. Remember, I'm a little bit of a jerk in 8th grade. I'm trying to bite my tongue because she's right there. I'm like, please just stop. Like, I don't want to talk to you. Here we go. Obtuse angles. I'm like, okay. She goes, some people have called me obese. And I'm like, I'm not laughing because it's not funny. I'm like, oh, that's mean that somebody called you that. That's mean. And then she went, for those of you that don't know, obese means fat. And she grabbed and shook a little bit. And that was it for Mr. H. Mr. H is laughing. He's rolling on the floor. He's trying hard. She goes, you will never forget this lesson because obtuse is big. And you know what? I love her. I've never forgotten the lesson. Obtuse is big. Well, what's it bigger than? It's bigger than 90 degrees, but less than 180 degrees. So when we show an obtuse angle, we make it bigger. So that could be an obtuse. That could be an obtuse angle. Those are all obtuse angles. We got one more. I lied to you. Actually, no. We'll stop there for the day. We'll stop there for the day. We'll pick it up tomorrow. Okay? So finish copying this down if you haven't done so.